Is it fact or is it fiction that it was another killer week of World of Dance?
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
All right, you saw what I did there, right? Fiction.
Real nice.
You guys, welcome to another week of World of Dance here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm Kristyn Burtt. TK is already like, I'm just done. Go ahead, take it away, TK. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is TK Trinidad. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad, and I'm so I totally missed. I seen all your comments. I really appreciate it on the YouTube page, and keep up with the live chat.
And I'm Amy Cassandra. I was not here last week. I was celebrating my birthday in my home state of Texas. But I'm
birthday.
thank you.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. You can find me at Amy Cassandra _TV on Instagram and Twitter.
Becky.
So amazing. Gang's all here. Hey guys, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Becky Sattero.
We're going to get her on Twitter. I'm going to work
I
on
know.
it.
It's
We're gonna
happening.
work on
It's
it.
happening.
It's
I'm
my
coming for you,
mission.
Twitterland.
It's my mission by week 3. All right, another crazy fast week. I have a lot of stories for you guys, so I want to make sure that we just kind of dive right into it and start with In the Lab, or the lab. In the Lab is actually the dance studio, and the lab is the dance crew. They're out of West Covina here in Los Angeles, part of the junior segment, and I've got to say these kids were adorable but fierce.
They brought it.
They certainly did. What did you think?
I think the best part about it is, like they said, they're kids, so they just brought it. There was no in their head. They were in the moment 100%. And I put in my notes, hit it hard, because they just came. From the moment that music started, they were hitting it hard, and they were there to compete.
I love that. Well, Valerie was their instructor, their dance teacher, and she was talking about how all of these kids, they come from not the best of homes, and so they haven't had the easiest childhood. And for me, that already, I was like, okay, I'm in this, I'm invested, and they killed it. And I love that right before they went on stage, they were saying, yeah, we're underdogs, I wrote this, we're not going anywhere, we're here to stay. And I was like, yes, you are, guys. I mean, before even seeing them, you could just feel that vibe, and I love that so much. But yeah, awesome.
I mean, that was all great. But P. Diddy and J-Lo, they were together at one point.
Oh, awkward.
I mean, I was like, and they have a great relationship now, so it wasn't like any shade or anything. So I love that. I love the fact that if you watch P. Diddy dance, he kind of does one of these little, these shoulder movements. They put that in the choreography, and obviously, P. Diddy's from New York and all that stuff. They had that, being from the West Coast, West Covina, they had that New York swagger. It was crazy for kids to do that. The choreography was amazing. It took me back to Bad Boy era. It was amazing. The fast, the slow, hands down, it was a great performance. Loved it.
I'm glad you really pointed that out too, because there is a very big difference between East and West Coast, not only in music when it comes to rap, but also in dance. Huge style differences, and the fact that they incorporated that really is a big deal.
Oh, in the face.
Oh my gosh,
Grimy?
they had personality
Wow.
for days.
Yeah.
Personality for days. That score must have been off the charts.
Yeah, and I mean they're doing stuff that we saw last week in Super Crew, the 540s and things like that. They're doing things that adults are doing. These kids are very well trained though. They're pros. They perform with Justin Bieber, so let's not go, oh, they're just like two kids from the neighborhood.
Right.
They're really well trained. They also compete at Hip Hop International, which is another huge competition similar to World of Dance. So they know what they're doing.
Sure.
But what I love about this, and we always kind of forget this because sometimes dance can be very elitist, but dance brings so much to people that don't always have a lot. It keeps kids from getting in trouble. It gives them discipline. They do better in school. It's a thing that really Nigel Lithgow has focused in on with his Dizzy Feet Foundation, and a lot of that, bringing arts to underprivileged areas. So I love that this school is functioning too, and obviously bringing their A game when you're competing against people like Les Twins.
Yeah, a dance
Yes.
on that level, pretty much any form of competition from that age shapes anybody. Speaking from I did dance and sports, and the things that I learned when I was in 7th grade, I carry today from my coaches, from my dance teachers. So it's just the fact that they're so professional. Even if they were to stop tomorrow, those lessons are it's just amazing. I love seeing kids put their mind to something despite the challenges that they have and execute it. It's like, yeah, you have that story, but they didn't use that like, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to like play Xbox. Like, it's not, no, they chose to do this, even though their family's not necessarily there to, you know, make sure they get to dance practice. That's all done on their own. So
Well, it shows the discipline, which is so important, and they all have that connection together, and we saw that on stage.
Yeah.
And that's what's just put them to the next level, absolutely.
And think about the emotional outlet they're getting out of this. This is also going to keep them in check as you get older, junior high into high school too. Those are some tougher years. And if these kids have each other, have an outlet, have that dance teacher who probably means a lot to them. Because we saw that girl who was like, I come home, my family's yelling all the time. There's a lot of fighting.
Right.
That, whatever, 2 hours, 3 hours, she's at rehearsal every day are a great escape for her. It's really important. We forget about those things when all of us have grown up in fortunate situations, and then you see it and you're like, this is an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old's reality.
Absolutely.
Tough. Scores on that, they did really well, because I noticed a big drop in scores on tonight's
best of the night.
dancers, right?
They were the best of the night.
Yeah, I think they're the top ones,
We started out with a bang, so it was 90, 92, 92, and that's Neo, J-Lo, Derek Hough. That's how I'm doing it all night long. 91.3 was the total score, so really incredible work. I'm looking forward to them in the next round.
Me too.
We then moved to a very familiar face. Fiction, of course, the season 10 winner of So You Think You Can Dance. He was also even younger on Paula Abdul's show, Live to Tell.
Damn,
Live to Dance. Sorry,
I didn't know she had a show.
She did. Live to Dance.
In the day.
I wrote Live to Tell, and I was like, the show is Live to Dance, so let's cross that out. You can tell how busy a day I had. And then, of course, he was an All-Star last year, and his partner, Keita, won season 13. So
You Think You Can Dance.
So Think You Can Dance, yeah. So this is what we're talking about. He knows what it takes to win. He's been highly influenced by Les Twins, so I was interested to see how much of that style was pulled out, but very, very different from what Fiction normally does.
Very different. So emotional.
Shout out to Paula Abdul. She just performed at New Kids on the Block. Heard she was amazing. So
Hollywood Bowl.
Straight up.
Segue, sideways, whatever. I actually love this performance too. With that style of dance, it's always amazing when you see it, and it's like to one of those like really hard beats. And it's like, oh, okay, like, you know, their body's amazing, but the story behind it and the emotion and the dance with it was just, there was these moves that
oh my gosh. And I feel like
can't even.
When the music was you could actually turn the music off and see the movement without even hearing the music, because it was so perfectly placed and so deliberate. I don't know if I've ever seen him do it that well. I mean, it was just next level.
It's definitely a 180 for him, because he usually dances with a big smile on his face, lots of joy.
Absolutely.
That's who Fiction is. But, you know, we can't walk around like this all the time.
Right.
And you can't dance like this all the time either. And so I love that he did something different.
Well, and the judges said that too. They noticed he was taking it to a different place.
Yeah. Well, and he was given a standing O, which was the first of the night. And I thought that was awesome, because you were talking about, you know, if you don't hear the music, you can still see it, which is awesome, but you can also feel it. And the fact that, I mean, music and dance together is just so beautiful, but the fact that he did that, his performance was so amazing and so intense that I got chills, and it was just,
he was connected.
I love the show so much, because each time that we see a different competitor, it's just, if they're really good, you're totally in there and totally invested, and that's what's so beautiful about dance. I love it.
And then the story itself too, you know, talking about his parents, and of course, you know, J-Lo got divorced a couple of years ago, but she totally felt that. But he told the story after, which I love, because some shows they tell the story before, so now the judges is kind of almost like influenced by that story. Now you watch it expecting, so it's kind of like you felt like there's a story behind it, and then there's that connection there. It was just great performance, hands down.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting, just to make the connection with Derek Hough, he did a performance on Dancing with the Stars to that same song, Unsteady, based off of his own parents' divorce.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he did that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Before anyone starts tweeting me saying, you're saying he's copying, no, these are two separate dances, very, very different. We're not saying anyone copied anyone's concept.
Well,
but
it was a partner. He did it with his
sister. He did it with his sister, Julianne, and they had the
Mm-hmm.
parents and the kids. But before anyone says, well, they stole the theme or what, no. Okay, we're just going to squash squash that.
Products of
We're
divorce,
squashing it now.
separation,
No,
all
but
over America.
it's that the song is resonating with people.
Very much.
And a lot of people, I come from a divorced household, a lot of people do. And I was an adult, but you see what happens to people when your kids and it happens.
Absolutely, and he was able to use that experience through his art, and think about how many people are seeing that performance and relating, and that's what we want to see in dance is having something that's relatable, and he just nailed that in every way.
And I love that we've seen on Dancing with the Stars, we saw one interpretation of that song, and now we see with fiction a totally different one, and I think that that's beautiful and amazing. I really do. And then they gave fiction. He also had really high scores too, 90, 92, 91 for a total of 91 as
Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. And I'm excited to see really what he does the rest of the season because he's someone that has always been one of my favorites on So You Think, and I just think there's a lot of growth that we've seen now. So
A lot.
then we go into this one. This one's interesting. Miami Allstars. We were talking a lot last week. Miami is a hotbed of dance. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of it. But there's a little bit of a connection, so this is what I love. So they were on season 6 of America's Got Talent, so you guys might recognize them. But they're also coached by Manny and Lori Castro. Last week, D'Angelo and Amanda, same coach. So he has a couple acts
Yes, he does.
in World of Dance.
Good
And
for you.
the neat thing about this group, I was like, it's what a weird
It's really
adjective.
swell.
It's really a swell thing. But it's a range of age ranges. And the oldest, I think, is 43 in this group. So,
Is that the mom?
yeah.
Sexy mom.
Sexy mom.
Sexy mom.
But I do like that
Yay.
because we're not like, this is a competition between, 8-year-olds and 30-year-olds. And then
Right.
you fall off the radar because you're not allowed to dance anymore.
Right.
This is great.
Oh my gosh. And they have real jobs outside of being dancers too. Not that being a dancer is not a real job, but they have jobs,
In order to support their...
just
pay the bills.
Exactly. So they're
Yeah.
doing it in their spare time and they're that good. It's pretty profound.
I love that they used J-Lo's song. That was very, very brave because I feel like that could have gone either way. It's like, really? You're trying to suck up to me? Really?
Yeah.
But she loved it.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I found that there was like one person or it just caught my eye. Like, you know how in sync the lab was? It's like you didn't see a break in anything. In this particular group, there was somebody that it was just off by like just a split second, and it just kind of ruined. Like, I mean, it's not like they're total like I'm not poo-pooing over the whole thing. It's just like that. It was just like that minute thing where it was throwing me off. It was just like they were kind of doing the twirls and the flips, and it's like somebody was just out of sync. Just
Just a smidge, but that's all it takes is just a smidge to take that eyeball into a different place,
It
which can
ruins
change
the
it.
entire piece for you. And, especially where you have crews in sync in perfectly, perfect sync.
if you've seen it before, then you know it could be done. It's not like I wish they could do
Right.
this.
The interesting thing about ballroom dancers is that usually it's just a couple and they're taught to be individuals on competition floors so that when you try and get a group of ballroom dancers, and I learned this from Mandy Moore, who, choreographs all the pros, and she said, the first couple times I tried to do group dances, like there was this going here and this going on here because they're trying to stand out. And she's like, no, I need you guys in unison. And they're not trained for that. They're not like a quarter ballet or anything like that.
Sure.
So I thought that was really interesting, and I bet that that's some of the challenges that they have.
I just felt like it was, like you said, good. They said good, not great.
Yeah.
They needed
I didn't think they were gonna make it, so
I didn't either.
well, and they needed way more unexpected things because I believe it was Derek that said this. He just wanted more, something else.
Yeah, creativity. I mean, I think it looked like something you would see on a competition floor,
Right.
but this is for the world prize.
Yeah.
They're competing against the best in the world. I didn't feel like it was in that category personally. Maybe that's really hard to say, but I just.
Well, if you look at the same coach and then you look at what Amanda and D'Angelo did last week, you sit there and go, well, we saw what, another of your students is capable of, so they are going to have to really raise their game in order to stay in through that next round.
It's probably a timing thing. Like in order to be in sync with that many people, what is it, like 12, 13, 14 people? To be in sync, that's hours on specific movements. And the song was maybe a minute, maybe 90 seconds. Like that's like that takes time. And the fact that they're probably some are parents, have other jobs. It's gonna take some time for them. But I hope this was just the only time, and next time.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have the time when they start getting into.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't.
deeper depths of the competition.
I don't see them going towards the end, but
Well, and because it was filmed in such a short span of time too, they had to come to the competition with maybe 2 or 3 routines already banked. And I'll talk about a couple because I found actually it's our next couple, Luca and Jenna Lynn.
They digging.
Yeah, I've been doing lots of digging. I have so much digging. It's like, but they obviously made it to the next round, and they flew in their coach, their choreographer, because they were like, we can't do our other routines because they're not going to hold up against all of this talent. They're like, we gotta amp up our game. So they, on their own dime, like flew in the choreographer and started like packing in every trick because they wanted to stay in the competition.
That's how you get it done.
Yeah, you got to do what it takes.
Yeah.
You gotta think. You gotta think about these
How long
things.
did it take to film? I remember you said it last week. I can't remember.
It was shot over. It was a really weird, like 6-week span between January and late February was the finals. So, and depending on how long you stayed, like
Sure.
So they probably shot this beginning part in what, like a week and a half?
Probably somewhere around there. There were a bunch of shows because I remember it was on One Iota, which is the ticket service. So they were doing like a Friday show, sometimes a Sunday show, a Monday show, and then it would sort of like the week off, and then they would jump back into Friday shows. So yeah, there was a lot of back to back to back. It was a lot.
Got to bring out the big guns.
Big guns.
Big guns.
So let's give the scores for Miami Allstars: 79, 82, 82 for a total of 81. They squeaked in.
They slithered their way in.
I was surprised.
But they're eager, and I give them credit because at the end after they interview them, one of the girls was like, "Yeah, no, we're ready to bring it," and that's all you can ask for.
Well, yeah.
They know what they need to do, so let's hope they do it.
Yeah, and maybe being away from your job for a couple days, and
Right.
you get to focus just on rehearsal and not worry about anything else. Sometimes that's the best thing.
Oh my gosh. I wish.
Should we start a dance crew, girls?
Let's do it.
You're just like, anyways.
All right, let's get into Luca and Jenna Lynn. I have interviewed them twice now, so I've spent some time with them, and they're performing. Actually, they're doing World of Dance live this Sunday at Universal City Walk.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Luca and Jenna Lynn are for sure performing. I don't know who else is on the list, but guys, it's free. So
Love
just need to pay for universal parking.
Shout out to the Six. They're from Toronto, so I was very, very invested in them. So
Yes, they're the only Canadian competitors.
which I like. Here is the reason why I like it.
Do
And
it.
here is my problem
Give it.
with American television. In Toronto, we have all these American shows, and at one point, nobody could go on these shows from Canada. It was so annoying and so like heartbreaking. So I love when I see Canadians on shows. Like don't tweet me. I love seeing Canadians on the shows because it's just so amazing because we see all these American shows and we want to be a part of it. And yeah, they have the Canadian version, but it's just like we're literally across the border. So I love to see this and complete on the same stage, same level. So I'm invested.
Yeah.
And they were at Blackpool Dance Festival, which is the largest ballroom competition in the world, this week in London. They were also involved in the London terrorist attack.
Ooh.
Not kidding, you guys. Their flat that they rented, they did like an Airbnb, was a block away from Borough Market and London Bridge. And so if you go on their Facebook page, Luca and Jenna Lynn, you can actually see some of the footage as it was happening. They were woken up by sounds of gunfire and the car crash. They were evacuated. Because they were out on their flat had a balcony and they were looking out and the police were like, get out now, get out now. So they basically took themselves, no luggage or anything else. And, Jenna Lynn's parents were with Luca and Jenna Lynn.
Thank goodness.
And they were just wandering around. They had no place to go. Hotels would not take people in. They tried. They tried to go to like
really?
Hilton. Oh, yeah.
Why?
They were like, we're full, sorry.
Oh, okay, well.
And they were but they wouldn't even like
I let them into
go into a
The
ballroom
lobby.
and just kind of like, or a lobby. And so they checked in on Facebook because they have that, safety, like you're here within a 5-mile perimeter of the attack. And a guy and his girlfriend took them in, didn't ask for any money, gave them a place to sleep that night based off of just like a Facebook connection kind of thing. But I was texting with Jenna Lynn's dad as this was happening, like, are you okay? Because I knew they were there. I had been speaking to them while they were in Blackpool. And so they had a whirlwind of a week. So they performed at Blackpool, which is a huge honor. This happens the next day. They flew home to Canada and wound up doing all this press because of the unfortunate accident in London. And then they're headed to LA this week.
Busy schedule.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they're okay.
That's the only
that's-
thing at the end of the day. That's all that matters.
Yeah. It does something on the psyche, but being that competitive, it's almost like you're able to compartmentalize it, and hopefully they'll be able to kind of work through it and move on. So
Absolutely.
Process it later. But let's talk about their dance.
yes.
Wow.
Let's talk about some happy
Oh
stuff.
yeah, let's
Love
bring
it.
some.
Bring it up.
Joy.
So a lot of people were like, what's cabaret ballroom? It is a theater art. It's kind of a combination of cirque and dance, ballroom.
We
There's-
saw the cirque, didn't we? The lifts were just out of this world. The
Everywhere.
transitions for that.
Yes.
I felt like the athleticism was just incredible. I mean, I feel like he could just like spin her
Yeah.
on his finger.
Credit like the
big
Luca
deal.
with the football. Like he clearly,
Right?
but when he's explaining himself,
Basketball.
is like, yeah, like I'm not, like I can clearly see that, and it seemed like he lost. How old are they?
He just turned 20 and she's 16.
Yeah.
So they are in the upper division because of his age.
So clearly he hasn't lost any of that strength, and I know dancers too are strong too, but it's just kind of like, all right.
He was
she's
a
5
great
pounds.
offset to her.
She looked
So-
like a feather.
Yeah.
Just like, hey.
Yeah, they're both very athletic, and I think that's what makes their style very fresh. They're not kind of like that traditional ballroom. Even
Not at all.
most theater arts in sort of their cabaret ballroom category, you don't usually see this type, and so they got a standing ovation. Like they were like one of two at Blackpool that got a standing ovation because they're exciting, they're fresh, they're young,
Very
and
much.
they've got a huge career ahead of them. Really huge.
I'm invested. I love it. I was pleasantly surprised. I love, because when I saw the title, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. Because when people like put certain dances together, it's just like
Never
no,
what to
that-
expect.
Doesn't work.
Don't do
Not
that.
so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
But I loved it. I loved the flips. I loved exactly what J-Lo said. It's just kind of like there's just that little tweaking where you put the emotion in it. So now you're like totally in it, and the movements.
I agree, because technically it was completely on point, but the story got a little lost for me too. Like I wanted a little bit of a connection to them, so I was sort of surprised they didn't mention that. But for me personally, I just wanted a little bit of connection story.
They rocked it with the song choice, though. You Don't Own
Yeah.
Me.
Oh my gosh,
I
love it.
loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And I wonder if like that relationship and that connection is going to evolve because she's still 16. You're still getting to know your body.
And they were together for 3 years, or
3 years.
3 years, okay.
Yep. So
Yeah.
since she was 13, she was a young one when they started together.
Because it seemed like she was playing sexy than being sexy. So when she
Absolutely.
gets that,
Yes,
then it's gonna be a different.
they're going to skyrocket. 83 Neo, what? 89 and 88.
He just had it. It's probably a long day for
I
him.
know.
Like
He was like,
whatever.
I think that was a little low, but that's okay. I mean, he could have given him an 85.
He didn't seem too
86.
stirred about it though, so
Yeah. 86.7 is their total, enough to get them into the next round. And then there was like this montage of goodbye. And you know what I thought was interesting? Because I was reading today and I'm like, there were 47 acts in that qualifying round. And I was like, how are they going to do that? Well, now we found out.
they went through
Montage.
5.
Yeah.
I think bam, bam, bam.
Which I didn't want to see that. I mean, especially the little kids. Like I understand it's a competition, and kids need to experience that. I think were you there when I went on my tangent? No, I don't think you were there
No, I
that
don't
day.
think so.
The whole giving our kids like all ribbons, like don't do that.
Oh, I'm
Like so like competition's amazing for kids, but it's just kind of like you didn't even get to hear their story, so it's just like hi, bye. So it kind of hit me a little bit more because it's like okay, you feature them and then they're losing. It's like I don't know. Yeah, so I rather have not seen that, and just maybe if they put that at the intros, like 47 teams tried out. These, not even say these are the teams I made. It's just like that was just a statement versus because I don't know. I didn't want to. It's like didn't do the teams justice because they work so hard. And
Yeah,
you
it was
get,
a little.
like,
It was a little bit of an awkward 15 minutes of
Yeah.
fame kind of thing, and then
Yeah.
you're like,
Not
oh, well,
even.
I don't know. Yeah,
Like-
15 seconds of fame.
45 seconds maybe? Was it?
each team probably got a millisecond,
Yeah.
like maybe, or like the two little boys, they probably maybe got 20 seconds.
Sure.
But everybody else is like, oh hi, but now you're gone.
Well, and what's interesting too, Kaylee and Brandon, I know Kaylee Ware, she was the youngest. I think I mentioned it last week. I think I said School of American Ballet, and I meant American Ballet Theater, Jackie Onassis School. She was the youngest person ever admitted to that school. she's another one with a huge career. You've seen her on Dance Moms too. She came in as one of the replacement kids. And then in also the Goodbyes, you saw Fuse, which is Alan Salazar. If you guys watch Dancing with the Stars, he does a lot of the pros choreography behind the scenes. Like, he doesn't get credit for it, but he helps them out with a lot of their freestyle routines and things like that. And Lindsay Arnold's sister Jensen was in that group. So I was looking forward to seeing them dance. So I was kind of bummed that it was just like a nod and like a flip, and that was it.
I don't know. I kind of liked it just because even if we didn't get to see them dance, or, you know, they got 5 seconds of fame, they still got to have their faces on camera on this kind of a stage and to say, hey, I made it this far. Yes, I didn't make it past the qualifying round, but I got here. And I think that's awesome to be able to dance on that stage.
Well, hopefully they'll put it online. Maybe we'll get to see some of the missing
that would be
ones.
nice.
That's kind of what I wish. I want to definitely see the performances, and maybe along with having a host, they almost have, like, The Voice used to have like a social media host where you can kind of see it on Facebook Live or you see it somewhere else.
Would be cool.
Because, like, personally, if I made it somewhere and I didn't make it, I'd rather not be, like, I don't want any part of it, but I don't want to, I was kind of, so I don't know, it's just a personal thing.
But that's also kind of speaks to the competition itself, since the public doesn't get to vote. I think that's part of why we're not seeing it. They're just kind of throwing them a bone. But in a way, I kind of missed seeing that performance too. I feel like I would have liked to have seen it.
Yeah, you want to see if they deserved it or not. Even if you don't have a say, it's just like, yeah, I didn't agree with that.
Absolutely. They fast forwarded it for us, and I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they will somehow see them on YouTube or somewhere else at some
Sure.
point. You know, you want to be like, Mom, look, I did do it. This is what we did. I don't know. It's good bragging,
This is like, look closely, Mom.
I know.
There I am.
Right there.
If you blink, you're going to miss us.
I know, it's frustrating. I did find out an answer. We talked about this last week. I had Cassandra Chavez on. She's a supervising choreographer on World of Dance on my show earlier today.
That's what I was going to say. Let people know that you, just in case they don't know. I'm sure they do. But
To the point. We're going to be airing it every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time live. Today we were at a special time, but Cassandra Chavez came in, and she's a supervising choreographer. And remember, we were talking about how short the dance was for Next Level, the cloggers. And I was like, what? And she goes, their dance was longer. They did do some editing on that, probably because they didn't make it to the next round. So it was their montage goodbye with just doing.
But they got at least a minute.
At least they got a minute.
There was a couple of performances last week that were definitely edited. Like, it was edited well, but it's just like, it's almost like the story like stopped and then it picked up somewhere else. It's like there's something missing.
I didn't feel that this week though, so that was good.
Yeah.
I felt like it was pretty.
Yeah, we didn't feel like, we cut out the middle.
Yeah.
Pretty straight. The beginning and end, and now
I had a beginning, middle, and end
so
for sure.
Chisholm90 says it gets kind of boring if they show all the routines that do make it. So I definitely agree. So that's why I kind of said, instead of saying, you could say 47 teams tried out and leave it there. So we still don't know who made it or not. And
I agree.
Still leave in, like, the 1 or 2 who don't make it. But definitely, there's like, we had, which team was it that was like on the cusp? Was it the
Miami Allstars.
Yeah. So, you definitely leave kind of those teams in, but yeah, definitely.
Right. I mean, make it a little more dramatic for the viewers, just to kind of give us a little bit more to hang on to, I guess.
Dun,
a little
dun,
variety.
dun.
A little variety.
Suspense. Yeah. I think that's definitely a good idea. Let's move on to quick style, because these guys are so fresh and interesting. They're Norwegian. They've been big fish in a small pond, and I love that they were like the winners of Norwegians Got Talent in 2009.
I did not know that existed.
I didn't
It's
either.
a version of everything everywhere.
There is, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all so talented.
The second I heard the first 3 notes of Jolene by Dolly Parton, I'm like, I'm in. I'm just in.
Because don't they have a newer version? Did somebody else sing it too?
Miley Cyrus
Did Miley
sang.
sing? Yeah. So I definitely love. Yeah, it was unexpected.
So unexpected. And did you guys feel? So 3 guys, but I felt like I was watching one guy in a mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so in sync. I literally just flowed into. I don't know. I couldn't believe what I was saying.
I don't know if they did this on purpose, because there's the twins, and then they have the friend there, and the twins were dressed in the same outfits, and the friend wasn't. I don't know if they did that on purpose. I almost wish that they all kind of dressed similar to see if, just to see. I don't know. It kind of would have gave that extra sync.
Sure.
Or if they did that on purpose not to see that they're actually in sync. I don't know.
They were a reflection of one another.
Yeah,
It was
it was
amazing.
crazy.
Well, and they've been together as a team for 12 years.
It's a long time.
That is a very long time, and I feel like that's obviously what brought them super in sync, and that was one of the comments from the judges. You guys were really in sync.
I want to throw this out there just because I feel like they are the type of group, if we had America voting, who could win. Because you fall in love with the dancing. It's fresh. It's different. We don't know these guys. They're very charming. They're very quirky. And I felt like if we had America like voting, they would like sneak in there, sneak right past Late Twins and Jabberwockies and all these amazing acts and be like, we won the million.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a great story. But, you know,
Well, it's interesting because the judges said they wanted a wow moment, but to me, the wow moment was their synchronicity.
Right.
I mean, it's very rare to see 3 people on a stage and you see all of them moving so perfectly. It looked like one person.
But if they do that and do a trick
Sure.
in sync,
Ooh.
They won't be going bye, bye, bye.
yeah.
Well, and it sounds
You're
like
welcome.
that
You're
I know.
welcome.
We're full of puns. Everyone's punny tonight.
Oh,
You
my.
are welcome.
Somebody needs to create a montage because this season's going to be interesting. Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Well, they said that they're holding their best stuff back too. So
Ooh.
what is that? Like, 'cause they said Jolene was very like outside of their comfort zone.
That's
It's
clever.
the first country song, so.
That was so cool. And I mean, well, Derek Hough said what I wanted to say. Great minds think alike. You know, just how when you think of Dolly Parton, you don't automatically think of hip hop dancing, which is, you know, just proof how creative they can be. I'm excited.
I am too, and I'm probably going to stalk them on YouTube this week just to kind of get a feel for who they are.
Go digging again.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, I'm so glad that you do dancing because I swear.
Oh, man.
Wait, do you have a boyfriend?
I have a husband. I have a
Okay,
husband.
yeah, good. Yeah, he can't do. He needs to be on point because
But
wow.
He knows.
You are such an
trained well.
efficient researcher.
Yes, very
Well,
PC version. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
It's one of those things though too. It's like, you know, I had someone call me yesterday and I was like writing notes and I was driving. I put it on my Instagram account, on my IG story, because I was like, I'm at a stoplight and I was like, okay,
Yes,
what
I
was all
saw
the
that.
information in my brain? And I was like
I loved that.
scribbling, like hopefully remembering the details and everything, because, you know, I've been enough in the dance world that people will like feed me stories or let me know what's happening and things like that. And, you know, sometimes when they catch you in traffic, you're like,
You're not in the most
"Shoot,
ideal place."
I have to drive safely. And then I'm like, great, I'm at a red light. And I'm like, I keep a pen and a pad of paper like on my passenger seat at all times.
So if you find Kristyn on the freeways, steer clear.
There's this app where you talk into the phone, and it just doesn't.
I know.
what if you just have a video camera? Just
It's stationed in my car all the time.
Yeah,
Do you know why I
GoPro.
write it down? I have a photographic memory. So if I write it down, I
me
will
too.
never forget
Me
it.
too.
And even though obviously when you record it, it's there too. But
But
for
there's
me,
something about the writing, it sticks in your brain. I'm the same
sticks in
exact
my
way.
brain.
And
It's like a weird. I know it's a weird psychological.
just
We're
trying to
such
keep you safe.
dinosaurs.
Just trying to keep you safe.
Yes. Oh, well, I'm only doing it at red lights. I'm like,
It's safe.
So
It's
she
safe.
says. So she says.
I can't drive and do other things. I really can't. Otherwise, if I lose focus, it's bad.
Like dancing.
It is the point, but not in LA because people do a million
Oh my
things.
gosh,
It's
yeah.
terrible.
Let's not go there.
Quick Style was 85, 88, 87. Again, I thought a little bit lower than perhaps. I thought they'd be more like the 89, 90 in that area.
It was low.
But 86.7 was their total. But I'm really looking forward to what they do next.
Tickled Lady says Kristyn is the dance guru or the dance research guru.
Yes.
So
Y'all can see what type of student I was too. So the super annoying one in
Hey.
class.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Informed.
Yes.
Informed.
another PC version.
That's what our
Good.
fans want, to be informed.
Nick Daniels.
Oh my gosh.
Nick
Stop.
Daniels
Say
has a
no,
story.
Say no more.
There's so much backstory to Nick Daniels, you guys. First of all, Dance Moms. He was a part of season 3 and 4. He was a guest dancer at Candy Apples, you guys.
Yeah!
Candy Apples. Yes.
Oh,
If you watch
gosh.
Dance Moms, you know
No.
Candy Apples. Yes. But before we get into his story, which is tremendous, he is also a student of Victor Smalley at Stars. And just so you
legs for
guys,
days again.
legs for days. Look at the feet,
Like
look at
Diana.
the legs, look at Diana. Look at Ricky Ubeda, who won season 11 of So You Think You Can Dance. That is the style of dancer that they constantly bring out. So if you see a dancer that looks like that, you know that they came out of Stars. really technicians, amazing.
I wonder if they separated that on purpose, like because Diana was the end of last week, and he was the end of this week. So I don't know if they
End it beautifully.
Oh my gosh.
Nice little-
So perfectly executed, and like you said, legs. I feel like all I saw was his legs the entire routine.
All the way to his toes.
Felt like, you know, those Barbie dolls that you just
Yes.
It just felt like there was no. I think Neil said, like, if I wanted to like see somebody dance without any bones, that's like that's exactly what it was. It was just like where are the joints in what's
Nick could have his own Cirque du Soleil, right?
crazy.
Don't you feel
One
his
man
own show, just one man show?
It would
You heard
totally
it here
work.
first.
Yes. Well, a lot of those dancers, that is the type of body that Cirque does look for. Derek Piquet, who was in season 12, he's actually starring in a Cirque show. Very similar type of dancer to Ricky, to Nick that we saw. He's starring in one of Cirque shows in Australia.
Sure.
And, you know, that's what they're looking for.
Tickle Lady said he has a nice booty.
Ooh.
I did not see
I did
his
not
booty,
see it.
actually.
Maybe we missed that.
We should.
But that is the
Watch it
luxury
again.
of being able to just
Replay.
enjoy and watch versus writing notes.
Now, Nick is 18, so he is in the upper division. He's got a lot of competition.
Oh, yeah.
You know, competing against the adults.
Very much, but I think that we can all agree that he held his own. I mean, he was so dynamic. We were on stage with him the entire time. I mean, again, this comes back to all these huge groups he's competing against, and he is in it 100%. And I feel like he and Diana are just put them together, and they're gonna.
With
win the whole thing.
contemporary, I always get a little concerned of like, because you bring such a rich level of emotion right off the bat, and like, what do you do the next time? What do you do the next time to make sure you stay in it? Because
Maybe a little more personality. I mean, because this obviously had a very tough story behind it, but I think if he lightens it up a smidge, it'll.
What I did like about this performance is that a lot of the performances, I guess what gets me is you're telling the story, but in everybody's journey, it's not always, you know, downhill. It's not always up. And I love the fact that there was like the fast movement where he's almost like shaking it off, and then he kind of goes back to it. Like, I love that you kind of take that pause. And it's not all, you know, woe is me type stuff. Like, I love those storylines because that's more life. So then you can connect to it whether it's your story or not, because it makes more sense. But, I mean...
So much breath.
Yeah.
So much breath in that routine.
What I did want to ask you is performers like that, in the long term, how is their body, like, as far as joints, flexibility? Because, like, for instance, basketball players, or pretty much any athlete who's been pounding on their body for a long period of time, like, they walk... like if you look at like old basketball players, they walk in like funky, they're hobbling, like there's always some of these ailments. Is that the same thing for somebody who's
Putting their body through that.
yeah, you have to do a lot of conditioning, and you have to make sure you're doing the aftercare. You know, besides a great warm up, you need to do a great cool down, and what your body requires, whether it's an ice bath, whether it's physical therapy, massage, you know. A chiropractor, whatever it is, you really need to be on top of that. And you need to be on top of it at a young age. And I always look at it, for anyone that's ever followed gymnastics, if you look at someone like Nastia Liukin, who had a similar, like that thin frame, easily injured because of that frame. You look at someone like Shawn Johnson, who is muscle and athletic, rarely injured. And so those two body types, you know, like you go to the Olympics and they favor Nastia's body type. But you hope in the Olympics that you're healthy at that point. Someone like Shawn can take the pounding, take the beating, because she's more muscle bound, and it's interesting to watch because dancers like that, the muscle bound dancers, are usually less injured and can skate by with less aftercare than someone like Nick's body or things like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
lesson learned?
Well, it was excellent. The epitome of
Yes,
excellence.
and score-wise, 85, 89, 87. So he moves on to another round.
And he got a standing ovation as well.
Of course he did. That
The
story.
emotions there. I mean, the second they were like, and it's his dad's birthday, and you're like, and he's
Yeah, I know
dead.
they're just adding the layers.
Well, here's the thing. So, okay, I'm about to get real with y'all because I feel like sometimes when they show you, you know, the story behind something, it's almost like, oh, it's just so we can pull at our heartstrings and we're already weeping. But I like that this took a little bit of a different turn. It wasn't like, hey, feel sorry for me or whatever. And as someone who's lost a parent, I was in there. I was, you know, because they lead it up to, you know, and he's passed away. But then the fact that he he did it and it wasn't sad, like what you said. It's not sad. It's just like letting go and healing and moving on. I felt like that's what made it way more powerful and not, you know?
He exuded a lot of strength for sure.
Yeah, and grief has there's no like recipe book for what grief looks like. I mean, we've all probably had losses, and a parent is really significant. And you can't say, well, in 6 weeks you're going to feel like this, and in 6 months you're going to feel. It doesn't work that way.
So there's stages, and you spend certain times longer in stages versus not.
Yep. And so maybe this like is letting go of like, the last 3 years for him of just going through different stages of mourning.
Well, what a beautiful thing he had dance to have that as a healing method. Isn't it amazing that as artists we use what we love to do as that healing through those times? And
sometimes
we
it's
saw
the
that.
only thing that's saving you every day. You know, you're like, I'm so sad. How am I going to get out of bed? Well, I've got a dance class at like 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to that, whatever that is.
BU and Be Fabulous says, I think we said this last week, wants to see more of Jenna.
Yeah, Jenna does get lost in this a little bit.
A little bit.
I mean, well, I'm trying to be nice.
I mean, I don't mind. Yeah, I'm sure she's collecting a great check, but geez. Like, I don't know. Even if they had put her like on the side and, you know, or even after the show was taped, almost take her and she films with the show every week and does like a social media thing or like talks to the audience, because even at the beginning of the show I felt like, oh, you felt so removed from it because how they were showing the cuts and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm not even involved. Like now I'm very like passive, a passive watcher. But even if they took her and they involved her like, every week on the show or something.
Well, she could be the link between the dancers and the audience.
Yeah.
100%. I don't know why they haven't shown us that.
Well, and they had her with Derek dancing a little bit. We saw a little snippet of that.
The behind the scenes,
It was kind of random, though.
Yeah.
Did not like it. But I love the interaction between her and the judges, too, you know.
Yeah, it feels like she's so isolated.
Yeah.
Like, you're in the back room.
More
and they
Jenna,
didn't even give her
more
another
Jenna.
dress. Like, geez, man, like really?
Oh.
Well, that was definitely the same day, right? They're all in the
Everyone
same
was
outfit.
J.Lo had the same dress?
Jennifer
with the
Lopez
red.
was wearing.
She was in the same dress.
Was she in the same dress?
Yeah.
I swear it was a different one. Okay.
It's
Her
the same-
hairstyle was the same, so maybe it was the same.
Yeah,
dress.
it's the same red dress because they have it in the promo shots
She's in a white
on the
snakeskin.
press site too, of, like her showing her dress off. So, but yeah, I feel like they don't know what to do with Jenna, or they don't know what to do with her role yet.
She's a host.
She's a host. Get
Mario
her out there.
Lopez,
Put her on the stage.
Ryan Seacrest. I mean,
Right.
this is not a new thing.
Absolutely. I don't
can
feel
be
like
done.
she's a host. I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't. Ryan Seacrest, yes, is a host of American Idol.
from
but
Dancing with the Stars. Like, it's not a new
Sure.
concept. This is not like a whole new show. So I don't.
We're reinventing the host.
I don't know. It's just, I mean, there's like 3 different ways they could use her, and I just felt like all she's doing is hugging them, which is
Well, it's
fine.
already been taped, so I'm confused where the footage. Yeah, maybe like you said, they didn't know how to use her yet. Or
Maybe they had the footage. It was this show versus last week felt very cut together. It's like, okay, well, we're putting this dance here and we're dropping it here, and then here's a little montage of people who didn't make it, don't care about them but care about them, and now we're moving on. It's
well,
just,
who just asked about Jenna?
oh my gosh, I just lost it. The
Well-
live chat's popping.
Whoever just asked about Jenna, her and Channing are gonna have their own show that they're producing, another dance show. So that's coming up.
Oh, I mean,
Oh my god.
That's coming
I
up.
hope he has his shirt off.
Otherwise, we're not watching.
We boycott.
TK tells the people what they want. Everyone's thinking it. It's okay.
I want to know if you guys heard any feedback last week, because I got a lot of this and I was kind of surprised. People were like, all the dancers are really well known. And I was like, but it's the Olympics of dance. So you want to see the best of the best. And we haven't seen a professional competition ever. You know, so you think has been unknowns, and Dancing with the Stars obviously is celebrities. So this is kind of another level for people that have come through. Dance Moms, America's Best Dance Crew. It gives them another place to go and compete for $1 million. So
Especially now that there are so many dance shows that it's like, oh, okay, well, we're here. Like,
they're all
this is
competing
it.
against each other. Like,
Yeah.
here you go, here
Well,
we go.
it's truly the
Points.
best of the best. I feel like if it was just brand new people, it wouldn't. I don't know if it could hold up to that. We're going to be seeing in the duels even some pretty big artists.
Are you guys watching the Snapchat show?
I saw last week's, and Fiction won.
Yep. Yeah. So you guys,
That's
if you don't
awesome.
know, there's a whole sort of sub show on Snapchat that comes out on Mondays.
So
every
you're saying I
single
have to get a Snapchat too?
week. Yes.
Oh
So
no,
Twitter,
it's so much.
You are too young to be avoiding social media.
I'm not avoiding. It's just so much.
It is a lot. I was watching this
I need a
guy,
class on it or something.
Gary Vee. He's like, you should be doing like 20 posts a day.
What?
and shit. Yeah, it's
No, it's
crazy.
a completely different
Another job.
guys.
Yeah. On the chat from last week, people are really like loving it. As far as the show. I'll answer her later. But people are really loving it as far as the show. So like, obviously, I'm assuming they're followers of you because.
Yeah, Kristyn.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing, but meaning that they're lovers of dance, and it's definitely good to see that. It's almost like seeing. I always kind of bring it back to sports, but it's like seeing, you know, some people from the D League, and now you're seeing like the best of the best as far as the playoffs are going on right now.
Sure,
So
sure.
it's just like I definitely love that because you definitely want to see the people kind of the folks who don't make it. That's fine, but seeing the talent. And seeing it all in one show versus spread out on different shows, and like, oh, I wish this person. It's a great show. It's just I hope next year, because I definitely feel like they're gonna bring it back. It's not as
Ratings were huge last week.
as
Sure.
like cut and
Yay.
paste and stuff like that. So
Lessons learned. You always you go back and you go, what did we do right and what did we do wrong?
Absolutely.
And I just want to let everyone know, if you want a little more insight to the show, Cassandra did give some to the point, talking about the stage, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that next week too. Just how they formulated it, and people sometimes would lose spatial awareness because everything's so black in the studio. It was hard to spot and things like that. But believe it or not, we're out of time. I know.
wow.
Just like World of Dance is fast, we are fast.
Woo, woo, woo.
But lots of great things coming, and I'm looking forward to next week. So.
Jabberwockies next week.
Jabberwockies, it's about time. All right, Becky, why don't you tell us where we can find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Becky Sattero.
And you guys can find me on where? Instagram
Everywhere.
and Twitter at Amy Cassandra _TV.
like right here, you can find me right here. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Definitely the live chat. Thank you guys so much. It was. Maybe next time we'll have it go up so everybody can see it. But you guys, wow.
Rockin'.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So
Thank you.
all those comments. So here's a little tip: the live chat, we don't see it after the show is done. So if you have any like comments that you want to make, definitely go on the YouTube page, put your comments there. iTunes 5 stars are better. It's only 5 stars, so don't put anything less than that. Just saying.
She's got it all. You can find me at Kristyn Burtt on, I don't know, Twitter and Snapchat, and then Instagram.
On the streets.
On the streets, dancing around.
Everywhere.
The Kristyn Burtt on Instagram and Facebook. And next week on To The Point at 3 p.m. Pacific time, that is Tuesday, June 13th, it'll be Comfort Fidoki from So You Think You Can Dance.
Season 4.
Yeah. Season 4 for life. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.